Saundra here with us today. I have known Saundra for a long time. We actually went to Little Rock Central High School together, and we had initially planned to have Saundra here and our other colleague who went to Central High School with us too, Sickle Jordan. And she was not able to be with us, but we are going to have another session with Saundra and Sybil and myself, and hopefully Carlotta can join us as well, to let you know, because although we were all at the same school at the same time, to sort of let you know what the depth of our experiences and the similarities. And so having said that, I want to introduce Saundra first of all, and then afterwards we'll introduce her family members who are here with us. We do encourage these family members to be a part of these videos, because you are all wings of each other. You know, you represent those different facets. So that's why we'd like to be there. Saundra Johnson. Okay, Saundra, I'm going to turn it over to you, and if you can just tell them a little bit about yourself, you have the floor.
Okay. I'm the author of White Skin, Black Soul, and the theme is what it means to have white skin but be a Black woman and living in America. And I start my story from the South, the segregated South, living in an all-Black community during the Jim Crow era. And my skin, the white skin, I found that it's a big part of my life, from the time I was an activist at Little Rock Central High School, to being an airline stewardess, to a singer, as a therapist. When a Black client walked in and said, I thought I had asked for a Black therapist, and what it meant for to move to LA and to be looked at by Black males who were looking for white women to date. So in every aspect of my life, my skin became a part of my living. But it's also, there's privilege with white skin and there's privilege with light skin. But sometimes through my life, it was both a curse as well as a privilege. And one example, when I was being an entertainer, I wanted to work with the Platters. However, they felt like I looked too white, even though they liked my voice, they liked me, but they felt like I looked too white, and that would have been a problem for them in their tours, and they had different mixture of audiences. So the book is threefold. The first part is mainly about what color is in America, what does that mean? And then the second part of my book, I wanted to leave for my family information about our family, our ancestors, and how important that is for them to know. I also, because we've been left out of history, and we have a lot of contributions from our family, and other Black families do too. And I wanted them to have that. I'm almost the oldest in the family left, and I wanted to leave my family this. The other thing, the other third part, I wanted my family to be left with education that has been a part of my life. Racism, sexism, domestic violence, this is within our family. Rape, children assaults. I wanted them to have information about our family, so if they ever had to confront these issues, they'll have some knowledge of it. And one of the issues is a health issue, which is sickle cell anemia. And I have a trait, and we have quite a few family members with that. So I spent a little time on that, on the health issues. And I end on ageism, which was the fun part of my book, of where do we go from here, and how my color still is, it still comes into play, but it's a little different than it was. Right now I'm facing that ageism, and it's like, when will it ever stop? But that was kind of the fun part of the family stories that I wanted people to know. And the last message is our ancestors, they paved that way. So we need to follow their footsteps of perseverance, and we need to be educated, and we need to understand the importance of knowing our history. So that's kind of where I went the threefold of my whole book. But also, I think, other than the death and illnesses of my family, probably the lowest point in my life was when I attended Central High School. Because of my age, because of the constant abuse physically and verbally and emotionally, I think that was probably the lowest part of my life, 2 years straight. And it was very impactful. And writing sometimes parts of that book, and not only was it impactful for me, but my parents lost everything financially. And so that was a very critical part and time of my life. And believe me, being light, white skin, it didn't matter. When you confront the hostility, you could be a white person, and believe me, uh, the repercussions are just horrific. So it was an important book to me. And my niece and my good friend Willie talked me into publishing it because I was just writing it for the family. And they said, no, we want you to put it out. So they kept on me. And I'm glad I did at this age. I'm close to getting closer to 80.
Mhm.
So I wanted to leave things while I can still put them in, the proper order and the sequence. And I wanted them to understand my story, but I wanted them to also understand my feelings, why I have the philosophies that I do. I didn't want them to just go to ancestry.com and this is her name and this is how she's related.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted them to understand why I feel the way I do. And how do I feel 75? Well, I'm 76 and a half now, but how do I feel? When I first saw former President Obama,
Yeah.
you know, what that meant to me after all these years and where we came. There's a lot of things have changed, but there are a lot of things systemically has not changed. And so it was, I'm proud to leave it for them. I think family is everything. I'm going to tell you, that's the other part of my book. It's a theme. I don't think I could have gotten through Central High. I tell you the truth. If it hadn't been for my family, the love and support, and also the education. I felt good about who I was. I didn't need anyone I didn't feel any inferiorities. I didn't feel any, I had a family that told me I was somebody. So I think that's a very important piece of information today, that that family brings us through a lot.
Yes, yes, indeed. I'm gonna skip down here just a little bit. I want to come back to you in a minute,
Okay.
Saundra, and we'll get into a little bit more detail here. But let me skip down to your son, Byron. Can you unmute yourself there for a minute? So,
Yes, ma'am.
Byron, when you first became aware that your mother was working on this book, I want to know how you felt, and then I also want to know what had you thought before she even wrote the book or even talked to you. How long did it take it for her to start talking to you even about her experiences, particularly at Central High School? Um, how did they come about?
Well, we've always spoken about that. She's worked on this book extremely hard. I mean, she had a lot of sleepless nights and she was going through a lot with this. So when I read the book, I mean, I was sad. It was a lot of pieces of the book that, crushed me, especially listening about my aunts and the things she's went through and just the sickness in our family, So, I mean, I'm extremely proud of her. I mean, she's an exceptional woman. I forgot about being a flight attendant. Then she was singing over here. Then she went to this school and did all that. So, I mean, we're all proud of her. And I was just amazed that she wrote it at such a late age.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Well, I have to say that it just brought me great joy. I still remember the first email that I received, Saundra, when you were letting me know that you were writing the book. She was writing this book and she was asking for pictures or whatever, or anything we had to contribute to that. I remember when I got that email, because Sybil and I have talked a lot about wanting to do just that. And I think I shared with Sybil, I started writing and then I stopped. It's sort of like I told somebody, it took me 25, maybe 30 years to even talk about it at all.
Uh-huh. Right.
Before then, we lived what we call the Imposter Syndrome, where we we almost pretended as if we just had a regular, normal life, and we were regular, normal people. And now, in conversations, and I couldn't say anything. People would be talking about their younger lives and what they did, and I want to say something because I knew that wasn't my story, but I couldn't. So when Saundra sort of brought this to light, it was like, I mean, it was tears, it was laughter, it was everything all rolled into one. And so, I grabbed a deep appreciation of her, because I know, as you said, Byron, I think I know how hard it's hard for me to just write a chapter every once in a while. I know how hard it must be to just really go through that whole lifespan. That's not an easy thing to do. So I think we owe you a lot of applause for that. Let me ask the granddaughters here. Tell me, I see that big smile, Samara, so I know you're ready. Okay. And unmute yourself and just tell me a little bit, just sort of how you felt as she was going through this process. How did it make you feel?
For me, I felt like it was like a good accomplishment, because she's always told us about her past and everything. So I think it's good for her to put it in words where other people can live through it and see what they experience. Because without her, without the book, I wouldn't have got to see pictures and vivid imagination of what she actually went through. My sister, she was doing a project in high school, and she was like, she just found out that Gammy was Black. And I was like, so white this whole entire time, and to find out that, and for reading the book, oh, she's actually Black.
I love it. Very, very good. Okay, let me hear some from the rest of you now. Risa, you wrote the foreword to the book, is that right?
Yes, I did.
Okay, so tell me about that and how you went through that process, and tell us about it.
Well, I have to say I'm very proud of her, and I was honored to be asked to write the foreword. I I called her up one day, and I said, Auntie, you have got to write a book. I said, you got to share your experiences. She's always telling us, giving us history of, well, your great uncle did so and so and so did this, and your great aunt did this and that. I said, and we get a little glimpse of her, and I had read some of the Little Rock Nine's, accounts of what had happened, and I'm sitting here going, oh my God. I said, you went through this kind of stuff? And she said, oh yeah. And I said, you got to tell us your story. And she said, well, I don't know what I can say that hasn't been said. I said, you tell us your story from your perspective. What happened to you? We got to know. You got to tell your family, and I just kind of passed it. I was a pass. I was like, Auntie, come on, you got to do this. You got to do this. She went, I don't know. And look at her. It took a few years, but look what she's done, So we're just proud of her. And then when she asked me to write the foreword, I hesitated at first. I thought, and then I thought, well, you know what? Why not? Okay, I was absolutely honored, but I was also very hesitant, because I thought, well, I'm not famous, I'm not, anybody famous. And she's like, I want you to do it. And I'm like, okay, I got to do it. So I did it.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you. And Edward, let me hear from you. How did you get involved in all this? You're muted still, so there we go. Yeah.
Well, I'm fortunate, because I was able to get into this family through Risa. And I met Saundra probably within a year of meeting Risa. And of course, her little son that was there just playing around. But it has been a pleasure and honor to be associated with this lady. She's nothing but class, and I, just from the outside, I looked at the Little Rock Nine, and you hear all the stories about everything that they went through. You see the movies of how they were basically tortured through high school. And then you go and realize that they shut the school down. She comes back in there. There is no protections for her. She has to walk in there as herself. To me, she is the stronger character that got through because she had to survive on her own without all those protections, without all the publicity. You know, she's a hero. That's all there is to it.
I agree.